The way to stop the compliment and hug the person soon. Thank you. Thank you for the affection. Only the person will exaggerate, and you are talking, it is being thorough. And then Leo, he stopped. Let her talk. He said like this. My daughter, do you know why it looks beautiful like that? Yes, because there is manure there. Do you know what is manure? It's shit. Forgive the word. Okay, I'm that. Here in the growth of these young people, I am the manure. So, who makes the work happen is God in their hearts. So the concept of humility comes from humus, is the fertile part of the earth. And that's what we don't see. What is growing upon the earth is the result of humus, the fertility of humus. Look how interesting this is. Humus is this reality that puts us, which plants us in our home. It's just like you. It's no use being the most friendly person in your work environment, the dear, if you're a dusty inside your home. Have you taken pole tea, ZZ? No, thank God. It is the worst tea that exists in life. It is the worst tea that exists on the face of the earth. It is the poet tea. There are people who have this ease of being very friendly, dear, where they go, with the people they find. Then it comes home and it is that poet tea. Because they did not understand that the first place of realization human is the humus. It is the place where we live this humility to be just one more in the middle of the group, and we survive being one more. It is to have the ability not to be the center, to leave the center of the conversation, center of the subject, center of attention, and let the other exist. Stay is in the other one, if exercising in this is an exercise. Right? Since when it agrees to be supporting. Forgotten. Our Lady, how good it is when we find out. The first flavor is bitter, but then sweetened. Rose up. That's why I say unto you, don't you live worried about what to eat or drink, your life, or what to wear? As to your body, after all, life is no more than food and body more than clothing. Looking at the birds of heaven, do not sow, do not harvest, nor keep in barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not worth more than them? Who you can, with your concern, add one day to the duration of your life. And why get so worried about clothes? Look how the lilies of the countryside grow. They do not work, nor do it. However, I say unto you, nor Solomon in all his glory, never dressed as only among them. Now if God thus wears the grass of the field, which is there today and tomorrow will be thrown into fire, will not do it much more for you, people of little faith. So don't live worried that we are going to eat, that we will drink, how are we going to dress? The pagans live looking for all these things. Your Father who is in heaven knows that you need all this. First seek your kingdom, your righteousness, and all these things will be given to you. So do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will have your own concern. Every day your love is enough. It is so interesting, my people. We realize the welcome of Jesus' ideas so hard of us, as if he had the power to embrace us, as if he had the power to enter our hearts and give us a breath, a meaning. This is how we need to understand the word, as the one that welcomes our humanity, and it lends us resources for us to be better. Whenever Jesus is before his friends, and all those who were to hear him, be considered friends. It was precisely to help them live. This word always comes to give us a pussy, and at the same time it is as if it could deposit within us a small conflict that opens our minds so that we can understand more and more how we can live our lives. The Lord tells us, he tells us. He invites us to enter the difficult context of simplicity. In Beatitudes, Jesus is already beginning to draw attention to the need to seek a number of practical situations. Within the bliss, he puts a speech absolutely difficult to understand, because at first, it seems contradictory. How can anyone be happy being poor? How can anyone not be happy being poor? Jesus made a word game that also entered the concepts he broke. People thought, and truth. Sometimes we think anyway. It is only possible to be happy if we have a lot. He said no. If I have everything I want, I'll be ready to be happy. No. Blessed is the one who can manage not having in peace, right? In peace, without complaining. It is no problem we work to achieve, for us to have. I always say that. Honesty, with your work, you build your home. You have the right to leisure, study. Give your children comfort. But do not forget that there is an infinitely superior wealth of all that materially we can have, which is even helping us to mean what money has given us to mean what money has given us. Rich is not the one who has much, but rich is the one who needs very little to be happy. Look at this. You're happy with little. It's a grateful spirit. You know, Ziza, that walking around Brazil, in the opportunity to meet so many people, when a person has the experience of mercy and faith, they assume a wealth that nothing in this life can give. Nothing can be greater than you believe in God's mercy. Anything. You go through that experience of living the disconcerting of mercy. God loves me. God loves me, sustains me, and helps me give a meaning even when I do not have. I've said this here many times, and you have certainly heard me. God tells me yes when it tells me no. God protects me when life often denies me something. When I need to go through the difficult time of not being able to identify an advantage, there I need to strip myself, strip of expectations, what I thought could be. It is the long-awaited simplicity, the confidence in this mercy that involves us in wisdom. Sometimes our insecurity is so determining that it enslaves us. I often notice, slave to my insecurities? This gospel today is very difficult. You don't worry about what you are going to eat tomorrow. You don't worry about what you will wear. You have to have a lot of inner freedom to be able to understand that word. Extract your heart and believe. Because here it is not irresponsibility that many people could think, but this is irresponsible, isn't it? I won't be worried about what I'm going to eat tomorrow. No, it is not about living irreversibility. Degree is not the unlinking. We may plan, but not be dependent on a compliance. But to be free and the disposition of the changes that life sometimes requires. Sometimes I see striving so hard to achieve something simple I wanted. Sometimes it didn't even cost me so much. And there it doesn't happen. And then there is something that needs to let go inside me. There is a little one that needs to let go. And at these times I jump inside me. When this attachment releases, I think the soul loosens. I think we make jumps of maturity. I think we make jumps of love, make leaps of lightness, and you become much freer, much lighter. Less proud, in fact, because you start to understand when a person misses or when he is attached with one thing and the person goes there. An attachment to something that wasn't the way I wanted. It was not the way I wanted. I stay that years and years. I do not ask forgiveness. I was the one who asked first. And this is also a type of weight, right? It's a kind of negative wealth. Simplicity will always be a very difficult way to achieve. Because we need it, as Aziza said, we need to have a lot of courage to open one of our excesses, right? The simple are always brave. I think the simple ones are always brave because he almost a revolutionary, right? The simple ones. He dares to be himself in a serene internal way because he is an inner fight first us. I think a choice for simplicity is a choice of powerful interior freedom because nothing seduces you to the point of mastering you and making you lose your most sacred, most important principles. That's why I think the simple people really, I don't say simple simplicity, I say of simplicity. Is that? I had a preaching that stirred me a lot. Funny. I did the preaching, and yet I left very modified there. Which I did there in Serra da Piedade. The gospel that day was an invitation precisely to material stripping. And I was talking about my reflection that before we had the courage to take out an outfit in our wardrobe, it seems that we had to have taken some things out of us. It is not true. Material stripping is a natural consequence of those who can live the soul stripping. If the intention is deep, it needs to have a deep root, right? Sometimes we need an action that comes from the outside until you educate what is inside. Sometimes I have, a blouse I want to give someone. When I'm going to give someone, I feel that little pain, that inner coasting. I didn't want to give. It's because you still think one day you can use it, right? Those lies that we count. Yeah. And that's that question. What does I mean that? What root does this have? What value do you have? What is that? What would I be without it? Who do I get around without it? And in the end, it's a liberating question, right? And it's so good. I think simplicity is built of detachment and secret detachments. It is such an inner work. Very secret, very personal, very particular. It's liberating. I find the greatest liberation prayer that can exist is this: that we are free from ourselves, as Santa Teresa said. Maybe you accompanying us at home has already done this. It is a question that we should not neglect. Why have that? What do I have is in the service of what? And that I need to have that, right? Precisely. Are you at the service of a need, or is at the service of a vanity? Yes. That has no foundation. Sometimes the need is fed by a lie that we tell us a lifetime. Why do I need to have this house so big? Why do I need to have so many cars? Why do I need to have so much money on the bank? Why do I need to need it, right? Sometimes we invent needs, right? It is funny that we build lies so well elaborated that you spend 30, 40 years of your life working to maintain those lies. So we work a lot because we think we will need all that money, that we will need all that material structure that we created, when in fact, if we had been honest and responsible for this question, maybe we had not wasted so long in life. It is not that we would not have worked. It is that we might have worked a little less and enjoyed a little more than life gave us. Sometimes I see, Ziza, that in spiritual life, many people do not grow because of the courage to probe the human issues that weigh. That sometimes we want to address spiritual issues without touching the human issues. I want to get saint while being jealous. It's not true. I want to be closer taught. I want to have a purer soul, but I do not want to give up the hurts, the little ones that I cultivate in my daily life, with my brother such, with my wife, with my husband. We are creating an extremely unfavorable web to our spiritual life, and then we want to be spiritualized. And did you watch The Mission? That recorded in Argentina? There is a scene that I like a lot. That boy who commits a crime, who imposes himself a burden, and his burden is physical. He puts himself a penance to carry a huge thing on his back, which he drags it throughout his life and in a way of purging sin. He then placed that sacrifice. It's just that he was a long time in his life, until he is climbing a waterfall at that moment of great difficulty. And he is placed in the face of a limit. Either he throws that burden out or he can't get to the end. Otherwise, he would fall. He was out of strength to his own body. Much more for a body with a huge backpack he carried. A lot of heavy ranking, which was a way he had publicly demonstrating that he was a sinner. And the scene is very beautiful, because someone looks at him and says, "My friend." And the scene is beautiful, because he will have the courage to drop the burden on his back. This is what happens to us every time we have the courage to throw away the excesses that prevent us from reaching the mountain. The spiritual life is made of this thread that weaving a huge screen of humanity, right? I cannot see separate like this. I can no longer. And I think it is so ingrained to mine experience with God, this constant human challenge, because sometimes we pray waiting for a human rest for us to live a spiritual height of things, right? A rest of my human conflicts so that God will visit me. and there is no such rest. The human soul is made of tension forever. Will always be an inner struggle. And in this fight, the rest happens, in my way of seeing, only in the strong exercise of humility. Simplicity. That's when you surrender, actually, right? Surrender? You know, I had a very strong contact with the concept of humility with Leo. And we were in a retreat like that at Han's house, and a lady came to congratulate him near me. I remember that we were both walking outside. Then, suddenly, she went, praised. And everyone is well enshrined when you are being too praised, right? It is uncomfortable. I give 1. Answer life in a qualified way. Life asks us many questions. It is the question of Poet Drummond de Andrade or Joseph. And now Jose? The party is over. This is a beautiful existential dilemma to see. Life asks us questions. Do to me. Do to you. And then the answer we give. What is the quality of this answer? This is what we are reflecting on. The way I react at the moment, life puts me on the wall in which it presents me with a limit situation. Do everything for you to answer with quality. This life is unique. It needs to be well lived. We need to improve this answer we have. The human issues. Look here, an example of a person who is responding very, very, very beautiful. Life, who is Donna Liviana, a lady who is 95 years old, and see that beauty in her box. Father Fabio, Reverend Father Fabio, she called me. I am an amateur poet. I am 95 years old and write biblical poems. I already wrote a book, and at the moment I am already writing a second. I am sending you one of my poems to see my work. This work I do with a lot of love. I would like to be the opinion. I will be very happy to receive your opinion and very honored with your answer. I spend my time reading, writing, and doing crosswords. The Bible is my companion, a companion in everyday life. I still like to declare poetry, singing, and I appreciate your beautiful songs with your rich messages. I can tell you that I am poor, Father, but I am very happy. I take the life I always wanted. I have my heart, a heartless heart, full of peace, of love. And when my heart is sad, I soon sing to the sadness. I am happy, very happy, and grateful to my Creator. My sincere thanks, Ini Vaiana. This is Donna Ini, who at age 95 decided to write her first book. Oh, Donna Ini. What emotion, see, honey. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for the lady to lend us such a beautiful, beautiful experience. Serves us a lot. Donna Inia. Sometimes we, as people, have such a great ease of aging before the hour, and you teaches us that at 95, you are not even old. Because what ages us is discouragement, not as long as we are alive, not as long as we are having to account for this biological imposition of living, being born and dying. What ages us are the grudges we are keeping in the heart, right? What ages us is our pessim, and you teach us that. What ages us is our lies. What ages us is our disagreements, our abandonment. And even the lady living in an elderly home, you show so much taste for life. Continue still electing things from above as your daily bread. Continue to elect divine poetry as the food of your soul. Continue electing the good of life, as we said here at the beginning of the program. Donna Ini, fighting the good fight. And when you fight the good fight there, in the corner of the lady, in this place that our eyes do not reach now, I can't even imagine the lady's face, but the lady doesn't know the good that you do me as you sharing me. What does it renew within my heart, Donna Ini? My first commitment to life, which is to be able to be who I am. You will feed the project of your second book. As long as the lady feed projects within the heart of the lady, Donna Eni, you will not die. You will not grow old. It may even die, because we will all have to die. But you can be sure that you will die living, because those who feed this dream inside the heart, Donna Eni, make the transformation, make this beautiful revolution within you. And we need it all the time. Perform this revolution in order not to lose our brightness, so we don't lose the joy. So we keep having the satisfaction of facing light. For us to be able to receive the light, as you spoke so beautifully. What is the use of having the light if I do not receive it? What's the point of having the sunlight outside if I don't open the window of my room? I'm no use knowing that the day is beautiful if I do not allow the beauty of the day to visit my life. And sometimes we do this to us, right? Sometimes you do this to you. It does not allow daylight to visit your life. It doesn't allow the good of life to happen inside you, you know? Thinking. We can only move forward as we clean the way back. It's no use. Our effective life, if we do not exercise in the experience of daily reconciliation, we are not going far. I already said this here. Adelia Prado has a beautiful poem she speaks. Religious experience consists. It's not a poem. It's a text she wrote. A statement she made. I don't know. Religious experience consists in reading a sacred text, observing ants working ants, and also a loving look at ourselves. This is religion. It is you throwing a loving look at yourself. What is the loving look? It is the look of reconciliation. Do you know why sometimes we don't forgive ourselves? It is because we do not commit to the second part of the forgiveness we need to give. How am I going to forgive myself if I keep acting wrong? Remember, the exercise of forgiveness is a contract. Just like I was giving the example at the beginning of the program. I forgive, but the forgiven creature has to commit to the forgiveness it received. You have to make an effort to change. If I forgive me, I make no effort for my change. I will keep skating, and I don't get anywhere. And sometimes we find people, so special people, losing their lives, losing time, because it is brooding over the past. It is like cattle, right? I found it impressive when I found out that the cattle eat. Height is eating him all day. Because that calls ruminity, right? I didn't know that. I learned it as a grown child that I kept seeing that cow there. It looked like it was sucking gum, right? And I asked my sister, who gives gum for the cow to chew like this, right? Sheila lived in the fields at that time. I spent my holidays there in Albertos, a little field that is near Antit. And then she said, no, he's not masking gum, he's ruminating. Ruminating is the food. It is to extract from food as much as it can give you. For God's sake, it won't be ruminated the fish you ate, right? Play inside, bring out, throw inside. Only cattle can do this. We ruminate another way. But the food he ate, he returns and keeps that process. He is extracting the maximum of what the grass can give him. This is ruminating. When we positively ruminate our mistakes, we extract from it as much as they can teach us. Otherwise, I stay. Sorry for the expression, eating my own vomiting. This is unfortunate. When you keep feeding all the time of what didn't work out, and remember all the time, oh my God. But I didn't do it. There. But I didn't realize. For God's sake. We need to believe it all the time, my people. If no, to her life is impractical. She is impossible. It's no use waiting for perfection. It won't come to us. We will not be perfect. The most we will get is to be holy. And to be holy is that you reconcile your imperfections. The good saint is the one who made his sins a great virtue. This is what the church teaches us, is what the church suggests to us. Christianity is only healthy as it inspires us to deal well with our miseries. I am not a slave to my miseries. It is not me who belongs to my miseries. My miseries belong to me. It's just like the example I gave. There is a friend who is so jealous of his car. Woman cannot open the doorknob, but her nail scratches the doorknob. We can't get our foot a little suspicious, because it may seem that it's dirty and we'll get his car dirty inside. Then one day I asked, wait, is you the one who owns this car or this car that owns you? Who rules who in this story? The same is true of our imperfections. When we begin to give our imperfections the power to command us, when we begin to authorize our defects to be the centrality of our lives, we cannot centralize our effects and make them the engine, the gear piece. What is the part of the gear? It is the one that makes the engine work, run. The machine runs from the operation of the gear. If I put my faults in the main gear, then I will revolve around my defects, and I will hardly be able to see in them some process of change. Now, if I put my attention in my possibilities, then I will put all my commitment, my will.
Thank you for joining us on this spiritual journey at Path of Faith. Your participation is key to our community's growth, so please leave your comments, give us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more uplifting content.